So behind me here is the Ausom L2 Max Dual, and in this video we're going to be doing a speed test, a hill test. We're going to talk about suspension, overall build quality, what makes it different from some of the competitors that are out there. We're also going to be talking about the price. Should you buy this? Should you not buy it? Is there alternatives on the market? Basically everything will be covered in this video, so make sure to watch the whole thing. So the first test I done was of course a speed test, so let's have a look at that. Okay, here is the speed test and also a suspension test combined. So we are also at a very low battery. We are 35% or less on the battery. Bit of a hill climb here. We are flashing on the battery symbol here. Let me just check there's no cars coming. Let's keep going. What speed can we get up to on such a low battery on the Ausom L2 Max Dual motor? 57, 58 kilometers an hour. Whoa, 55, going up a hill here. Let's get more onto flat ground. What can we get up to? Suspension doing a fantastic job, tires doing a fantastic job. 58 kilometers an hour, 59, whoa, 59 kilometers an hour. Whoa, that is just phenomenal. There we go, on such a low battery we actually got to basically 59 kilometers an hour on this. And the battery is flashing like crazy here. Let me actually see what voltage we are at. I'm very curious to see what kind of voltage we have on this. 46 volts standing still. Wow. That's what I call really cool, because on a lot of electric scooters, when your battery voltage dips gradually, the speed dips with it, and on this that is not the case. Now let's briefly talk about the hill performance of this. If you missed out on the first ride video, you basically see that this crushes hills. You have a 1000-watt motor in the front and in the rear, giving you phenomenal torque. I will talk about the specs later on in the video, but from a hill climbing perspective, particularly if you're on a very steep hill, you just pop this onto dual motor, onto even the middle gear, which is basically sport gear, and that will get up you pretty much any hill. You could use single motor for kind of city commuting areas, but for hill climbing, pop that onto dual motor and then that's it. You've nothing to worry about from a hill climbing perspective from those crazy 1000-watt motors each. Now if you didn't see the Ausom DT2 Pro video that I actually released a good while ago, the full review of that, basically it had full hydraulic brakes. Now when I did get this model, it comes with standard mechanical disc braking, and I was a bit skeptical. I was a little bit worried, but I did do a brake test, so let's have a look at that and see how it performed. Plus I want to talk about another thing. We can actually do a brake test. Let me do dual motor in a second, but let's do a quick brake test. Suspension's really nice here. Very bad bumpy surface, but it's doing an okay job. Okay, brake test. Oh, whoa, whoa. Even with mechanical brakes, with that regen braking built in, it's quite good. And again, no major concerns there. So it does perform quite well while braking. And of course, this does have regen. I saw a comment on, I think it was my channel or another person's channel, basically saying that this model does have regen braking and the DT2 Pro doesn't have regen braking. They both do. You can basically configure them in the P settings. So you have the mechanical disc braking and you have that regen braking that you can set to really intense, or you can turn it off, or you can have it on the lowest one possible. So from a braking perspective, you don't have nothing to worry about on this. Of course, always be careful, but overall no complaints from a safety aspect. Now of course you probably have heard of Kukirin scooters, and I have reviewed basically I think 90% of their electric scooters out there, but a lot of the letdowns on Kukirin scooters is the suspension. It's standard and it's okay, like it's not going to blow your mind by any means. But on the Ausom scooters, I have to say every Ausom scooter I have had has had the spongiest, most quiet suspension ever. Just take a look. It has such nice travel and it's just super spongy. There is zero noise coming from that suspension. I mean, you could really take this off-road and have an absolute blast with this. For the price point, I will talk about the price later in the video, but from a price point, they have definitely nailed the suspension on pretty much every Ausom scooter I have had so far, which is excellent to see. Now, of course, a lot of concerns is actually security, and Ausom have done a fantastic job. So you have two different ways of basically turning the scooter on. When you get it out of the box, if you want, you can just simply hold down your on button. Then it asks for a password. I still have it on the default, which is basically 4 zeros. So you simply press your plus button, plus button, plus button, plus button. It's on all zeros. Then you hold down the power button and then it comes on. So very simple. Of course, you can customize this in the P settings. I will do a separate video on the P settings. Or if you want, you actually get 3 keys with this. Okay, now I need to explain something. These are of course NFC, so let me just turn off the scooter again. Now to turn it on, again hold down this button, and instead of putting in your passcode, you simply tap this on the screen like so, and then the scooter comes on. Now one of the good things about this is that it's not a separate NFC. So on some scooters you have a separate NFC on the handlebars that you tap and then the scooter basically turns on. But the problem with these NFC readers is that if you get 2 pins, 2 prongs, and put it into the NFC reader, it basically turns on the scooter. So it's a useless security feature. But this is good because it's actually integrated into the display. So you get 2 of these, plus you get quite a large lanyard with this as well. So again, you have that security feature there. But not only that, just take a look at this. Like on basically all the Ausom scooters, you have a hidden compartment here. You can unscrew this, so you have 2 screws, you've one here and you have one here. This comes off and then you can put an AirTag in here, basically as a tracking device. I have AirTags on every single key, including all these keys, and you can track wherever it goes. They've never let me down and they are extremely durable, so that's a nice hidden feature that a lot of electric scooters don't have. On top of that, if you take a look here, you have a USB-C and USB-A charging port, so you can have a cable running up here and then you can charge your phone, which is really nice feature. They have kind of thought a lot about the user experience, and I think, yeah, I would definitely like to see more scooter manufacturers going in this direction. Of course, when it comes to safety, this is one of my favorite type of folding mechanisms. So I have that really tight there. The way it's designed with this nice big chunky piece here is basically gives you peace of mind. Plus on top of that, if you take a look here, you have a locking pin as well. So this needs to be pulled out in order for the scooter to fold. So again, really nice durable stem, nice clean design, nice matte finish. Again, easy to clean, and there goes that suspension again with those big rotors. Plus on top of that, again from another safety aspect, you have those huge tubeless 10-inch tires on this. So again, another bonus. Plus take a look at this. This is one of the coolest lights. Plus it's quite, there's no wobble from this. I can't imagine it'll give much of an issue, but yeah, it's pretty cool. It has indicators left, right. This is your dual motor on, dual motor off button, so very easy to use. And then of course you have a funny horn, kind of sounds really weird, but yeah, basically all nice simple at your fingertips. No need to search for something while you are riding. Of course as well, even on top of that, you have the updated design, dual charging ports. Very nice design. I showed all this in my other Ausom videos. So really nice deck space, no rubber here, so might get slippery in the rain, so you need to keep that in mind. On the DT2 Pro, it did have a rubber kind of texture, which was easier to grip, but you know, not much of a deal breaker, just keep it in mind. You have a rubber pad, however, kind of on the back kick plate here, so kind of nice, a cool design here actually as well, now that you take a look at it. And you can stretch your feet as you are riding. Rear mudguard, thankfully full wraparound rear mudguard, so even riding in the rain you will be pretty much bone dry, and it covers the sidewall here as well. Plus you have these brackets that are, I mean, excellent quality. This is all one piece, by the way, so there is zero noise basically from this Ausom L2 Max Dual motor scooter. I don't have a lot of complaints, to be honest, about this. Now let's talk about the specs of this L2 Max, and then I'll give my opinion on this scooter. I'm really happy to see where Ausom go in their direction and see what they bring. It seems like they're constantly bringing out scooters that are different in some ways between them. Like for example, the DT2 Pro has 1,100 motors in the front and in the rear and full hydraulic brakes. This has mechanical brakes and 1,000 watt motors in the front and in the rear. Also, I've just received today, oh sorry, not today, yesterday I received the L2. I think it's the dual motor model that has 800 watt motors in the front and in the rear, so I will have a look at that. But let's talk about the specs here and then I'll give my overall conclusion. By the way, the official link for Ausom is below for US and EU customers. Again, always buy from the official store because you have warranties and comeback. I personally not have an issue dealing with them. You know, I deal with, of course, people in the marketing area, but to be honest, they're built quite well, not really much of an issue. Just take care of your scooter and don't abuse it. So, of course, 1,000 watt motors front rear, 48 volt, 20.2 amp hour battery, 65 km/h top speed. It says on the website here, but of course, as you can see, I could get 60 km/h. Now I am 82 to 84 kilograms for all the camera equipment, but going 60 km/h on a scooter is more than fast enough. Again, I will do a P settings video explaining how to customize the scooter. So if you want to see that, definitely subscribe to the channel or just keep an eye out for that video to come up. Of course, 90 km range. Now 90 km range is basically going the slower speed possible with around a 70 kilogram rider in perfect conditions on flat ground with a fantastic temperature with zero wind. To be honest, pushing it with a 48 volt 20 amp hour battery. And I want to talk about actually something now in a second that I think that's quite important. I think going the higher top speed, you'd get around 30 to 40 kilometer per charge. That's going crazy, flat out. So if you're going slower, of course you will get more range. Range is very subjective and it depends on so many conditions. But I think it's more than acceptable on this price point. Again, that I'll talk about in a second. So keep this in mind as well. When I was actually doing the review video of this, the battery was actually at less than 40% charge, but the speed was still getting almost to the max at around 58 to 59 kilometers an hour. So even with the voltage dropping, the scooter kept pushing that speed and it didn't dip. I mean, that's absolutely nuts. It's a good thing as well, because on some electric scooters, the more the voltage drops, the more the speed drops, but no, on this, it just kept going and kept going. And I think that's really nice to see, and it's a feature that I absolutely love. The max load of this is of course 130 kilogram rider. Of course, to be honest, the scooter is quite powerful, so even if you're a bit heavier than that, you won't really have an issue. And by the way, for reference, actually, now that I'm looking, these specs of height riders is actually now on the Ausom website. So it says here it's suitable from somebody between 150 to 200 centimeters in height. I find that actually quite accurate, so you'll be quite comfortable if you're between those height ranges. And it actually says as well, the spec is actually 7.5 inches in width on the deck, and the deck length is actually 21.6 inches in total width. And then of course the height of the scooter from the ground up is 56.4 inches and 27 inches in handlebar width. Basically everything's on the website, that's linked in the description. So that's something that is actually quite nice to see instead of kind of guessing the specs of it. Unfortunately, when it comes to charging time, it's a bit of a letdown. The charger is only 1.5 amp hours, so extremely slow. And if you look here, it can take between 7 to 14 hours to charge this fully from a complete flat battery. For the price of the scooter, can't really go wrong. Plus it does have 2 dual charging ports here. You could get another charger and cut that charging time in half. Again, buy the charger from official Ausom, don't buy an aftermarket charger. So let me have a look at the price of the Ausom. Wow, okay, so at the time of recording this video, it's actually 850 euros, so it's on sale at the moment. Again, I'm not sure how long that's gonna last, but that's actually quite a steal for this. I had a scooter a long time ago called the Varla Eagle 1. That was a 52 volt 18 amp hour system, but basically the same spec of this. And at
the time when those dual motor scooters like 010Xs were coming out, if you remember years ago, they were a crazy price of around 1,600 to 1,700 euro. But for 850 euro, I mean, this scooter is a steal. It has everything: security features, tubeless tires, crazy speed, decent range, build quality is quite good, very comfortable while riding, even at higher speeds. There is zero wobble. I mean, how could you not want this if you want more of a high-powered scooter? So that's it. If you have enjoyed this video, any questions, comments, leave them below, and I'll talk to you in the next video.